Welcome to Trophy Taker Outdoors. I'm your host, Lee Sapiro. It's not just fishing. It's not just hunting. It's everything outdoors.
Kentucky, pre-rut. Georgia, pre-rut. And rut.
Full blown.
Full blown. Got it. I had to find out what was going on up in Kentucky. So, Rucker calls me. Let's go.
Rucker Ranch.
I called you to come with me.
Yeah, well, not all of us can go and play all the time. Unfortunately, there are things that have to be done with the business.
Not just that. You had to take care of the trophy takers here in Florida, so I went up there because I was scouting out anyways. It was more of a scouting trip to go up there and check it out.
That's how you always make it, though. It's a scouting trip, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna hunt, and I'm just gonna stay a little while. Just got things down there.
Yeah,
I got it, bro.
1
Have
or
a
2
good time.
days, get up there and get situated. The weather's kind of mild, nothing crazy, and did a little bit of filming as well. But honestly, nothing was really going on. Just your typical pattern of those deer walking through the woods, doing their feeding pattern. Saw some scrapes and some rubs, but nothing really crazy. And
You think you were early?
yeah, definitely early. So, but nothing. I did see towards the end of the end of that trip that big buck.
Right.
And I looked at the map and looked at the property, and I found the perfect bedding area for these. And I thought to myself, if I come back in a week, this would be the perfect opportunity. Typically, I don't like to get really close to a bedding area when I'm hunting, but this was the perfect opportunity because, number one, the area I was in. Number two, that I found that funnel of those bucks, and I would figure that them coming out first thing in the morning would cause them to start rutting right in front of me, and it did. I mean,
Happens.
right off the bat.
It sounded like you had a game plan together that would work, especially when you showed me on the aerial map of where they're walking and bedding and feeding.
Right. So, went back home. Then Mr. John Gunner gives me a call and says, hey, listen, next week it's game on. You want to go? So I ended up, we were talking about,
And you just
all
went
right,
straight on.
I'll just stay in Kentucky for a few more days. So
Don't worry, I got it.
I got it. All right. I want to get back to the point where you and I started looking at the rut, and you came up with a game plan.
Exactly.
So what was your game plan coming up with at Chad's place?
Yeah, those deer that when we first got there, it was kind of pre-rut, and it went right into full blown. We were there the first day, and pretty much getting those same areas. Get close to those bedding areas, but don't penetrate them where those does were hanging out. And
Right.
we noticed right off the rip the big does weren't around. And it's like they were on lockdown.
Right.
And those bucks had them in those bedding areas and wasn't letting them come out. We were seeing a lot of smaller 60-pound, 70-pound yearling does, and once that rut got full blown, we started seeing those bigger does get pushed around.
I wanted to try the rattling because I know up north of Kentucky they were rattling, and it was going on.
It was bringing
them in. It was getting them.
You got to remember, too, a little north of Kentucky, a little bit colder. It's going to start a little bit earlier. So
Right. And I predicted this year, because last year wasn't really that great.
Right.
The rut was not that good. This year, I figured with the weather, and we did get some cold snaps coming down, and I figured we'd have good rut. So
It was a lot better this year in Georgia than the last 2 years actually we've had.
And not just that, the rut here in Florida is early,
Early.
really early.
Yeah.
like September early. Actually, isn't it in July?
Some places south it's
South is
July, September.
Hey, you think those deer in South Florida are rutting? Deer in the other parts of the nation are still in velvet, still growing their horns.
Yes.
So it's,
Right.
just neat by the regions like that.
So it was, and I'll tell you what. Another thing is when you're in Kentucky, get your gym card ready.
Yeah.
and get ready to go because
Climbing those hills.
oh man, those hills! I guarantee you, I lost 10 pounds
You put it back on when you got home, though.
real quick. All right, so we're gonna take a break and stick with us. Trophy Taker Outdoors. All right, we're back. Let's go back to Kentucky. So I'm there for a few days. Figured out where I'm going to go ahead and set the stands for you and me for our trip up so we can play the win.
The calls are just coming. I like this spot, but I like this spot. I like this spot, but I like this spot. And I'm like, just pick a spot anywhere. I mean, it all sounds good.
But you know what? No matter what I pick, he's going to be picky about it.
I'm going to move it when I get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You see? So I can't win. So that's why I've got to do my best
Best to get it right the first time.
to get it right the first time. So I get up early in the morning.
This is classic.
Get up early in the morning, and it was been pretty slow. So I haven't really seen any. I saw some small bucks, but nothing really, no giants. So I get up, grab 2 cameras, walk through the woods, and hit the first camera set up. Look up on top of the ridge, and there he is, staring at me. Yeah.
What are you doing, boy?
Yeah. Right down at me.
Sure wish you
Just
had
froze.
Why didn't you shoot him, Lee? Why didn't you shoot him?
The buck was so big that I just. Oh, do you ask me a question?
Yeah,
about
why
it?
didn't you shoot him?
Because I didn't have anything to shoot him with.
Nice. That's it. That's where we're getting at here.
There you go. Classic.
All cameras, no gun.
Always see the big one when you don't have a gun.
That's just how it happens.
But isn't it that typical?
It's typical.
But that I'm kind of used to that story with him. It's like he was there, I was there. I was like, why didn't you kill him? I didn't have a gun.
Okay,
Perfect.
And I'm gonna hear it. This is what happens. I should have lied, is what I should have said.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
And I didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
But
I would have known you were lying. I was like, I know he saw something.
know.
He messed up something. He missed something. Happened.
so I ended up looking straight at him. He started coming over the ridge, and I look at him, and finally I turned around
Right.
and looked at Rucker and told him to get down. And when I turned around, he was gone like a ghost. And I didn't hear him run. I didn't hear him blow. I didn't
Never do.
hear nothing. So
At
but
that point in
it was
time, do you decide, hey, I'm going to move or I'm going to stay right here?
Oh, I'm staying.
Okay.
I'm staying there.
Proof's in the pudding there.
Yeah.
Can't leave that.
Well, this is the thing. Right where he was at, maybe 10 yards, was a big, big rub. And he came to hit that rub.
So you see him, he sees you, you give him the wave, he says, see ya.
See ya. See you when the rut's on.
You decide Georgia bound.
Georgia bound. And John, the whole, 6 months just talking about it, how you guys showing pictures of some nice bucks on your property.
Yep.
And honestly, after driving the property with you, this guy Chad is just unbelievable on how he does his management. He definitely knows his stuff. He definitely did his research. We've done a lot of food plot and property management. So, which I tell you what, Pete, you missed out on this trip too as well, because you couldn't make this one either.
My story, my life. That's how it happens.
You couldn't make this one, but let me tell you something. You did miss out. The house was absolutely beautiful. It was a stilt house right on the river. You wake up and
you
it's
can't beat that.
No, beautiful. Accommodations were absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, the food plots, everything. We hunted
Y'all hunted hard.
We hunted hard. Our goal was to get that big buck that you guys had seen on camera. And you and I decided to hunt together.
We did.
So the first morning, we woke up, had some breakfast.
Yep.
And then
Y'all hold hands all the way out to the stand?
We did. Skipped all the way.
Sometimes we did, yeah.
All the way
Other
down the
times we
Golden
did
Brick
because our
Yellow
hands were
Brick
full.
Road?
We had a lot of equipment in our hands. So we
I gotcha.
couldn't I'm sitting there filming John, and he's looking at me. He's going like this. You doing the motion down? There's a deer. I mean, right underneath.
Under his stand, literally.
Right.
Nice.
Right under.
He's got the camera going both ways, and I'm trying to give him a signal. He finally.
He's giving selfies with the deer.
Yeah.
Notorious
that
for
was
those.
another hunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had deer all over us that morning. Had a nice 8-point come in. Directly after that, Lee actually saw the buck first. Big buck coming, came in behind us, grunting.
So then that's when just hell broke loose. And
After that, it was just
you
crazy.
started rattling, and then just every time you didn't even have the chance to put the rattle down.
Wow.
But yeah, those does came in. 2 big mature does came in and gave me about a 35-yard shot.
Smoking.
And it was so loud that the camera picked it up. So we ended up finding her. She went, maybe
40 yards.
40 yards.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, it was my first crossbow kill, and won't be my last.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
A lot of people are converting. They just, it's nice. They're fast. They're accurate, but you still have the challenge of shooting them with,
Archery equipment.
So
I will tell you this: when we come back, I get a really interesting phone call from John Rucker up in Kentucky. So when we come back, we'll touch base on that and see what happens. Stick with us. Trophy Taker Outdoors. All right, we're back.
Back in the bluegrass state.
Oh yeah, I get the call, and then I call him.
Rucker.
I call him immediately. Let's go. Rucker just called me. We got to go to Kentucky. It is on fire.
Hey, Pete, did you go?
Unfortunately, not.
3 times.
Business.
3 times.
What can I tell you?
Man.
My partner can't go.
Yeah, it's just how it works
I'm
out.
beginning
It's
to think he don't like me.
It's so convenient for him. He just leaves. It's just,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, who's gonna do this? Oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, we have to worry about it.
Yeah. Pack your bags. We're leaving in the morning.
Must be nice.
Yep.
No, it's not nice. Washing your own clothes, feeding yourself. It kind of
Let's
sucks.
be honest. You didn't wash your clothes.
I didn't wash my clothes.
And you barely fed yourself.
Yeah.
I just hung up.
McDonald's did a lot of the feeding.
I hung my clothes outside. I'll be honest with you.
These will be fresh by the morning.
Yeah, a lot of scent killer on them on them clothes. I get up there. I'm getting all my camera equipment set up. Get the my bow ready. Actually, I'm getting my bow ready. I don't even have anything.
No
knocked in.
arrow knock, nothing. Typical.
I look to my right, and there is Mr. Ghost Buck.
Looking at you. What are you gonna do, little man?
Yeah,
3rd time.
exactly.
You got an arrow knocked? I don't think so.
No, you don't. Here's a broadside. Look at that.
Take a picture.
Yeah, he did the old stance and everything.
Leg forward and all.
Telling
Nice.
you. Right there. So I would just
At this point, I would have been like, this just isn't happening for me.
I was very actually it was discouraging, but it wasn't, because now
If you're seeing him, there's another one. This is Kentucky. and
well,
you're in
this is the
holler.
thing. As soon as I saw him and he left, and again, I was very comfortable about the whole situation, because typically if they don't blow, or I don't see him run off, which he didn't. He walked off. Then I'm thinking, okay, he'll come back.
Yeah.
So that was a good part about it. It sucks that I saw him and I didn't shoot him, but on the other hand, I'm glad that he didn't get spooked. So
You ought to be more glad that I wasn't there, because he'd have died.
yeah, I know. So in between them running, you would see that typical buck that would just walk by with his tongue hanging out, tired,
Neck swolled up, just
neck
ready to
swole
go.
up, ready to go, and actually even bedding. I mean, not bedding down, but just sitting maybe 200 yards from me.
Well, you and I actually had one in Georgia bed down.
Yes, right in front of us.
That was wore out.
Was wore out, just sit right there. He wasn't a shooter, but he was, you could tell he was tired, and they sat there, and it would go in phases. You would have that rut just running really hard, and then you'd see them just walking by themselves, like they just
Give out.
ran 15 miles or more, and then just sit down and take a rest. I went and bought one of these Nautic Sports.
Right.
It's a power system that you could hook up. You could actually jump start a vehicle with. And John, you told me about this product, and I went out and bought one. And let me tell you something, that thing is sitting in the stand, and there was times where, I would, text you and text John and send pictures.
Times. It was the whole time.
The whole time. Just throwing it in your
Just
face.
think how many deer you would have seen if it wasn't texting.
Yeah. If he was looking up instead of down.
Selfies. Selfies take a lot of battery.
Absolutely. You got to get the right angle.
So, I ended up buying the non-export. And let me tell you something, that thing charged my phone at least 3 times from 0 to a full charge. It was incredible. I mean, that is probably one of the best products on the market right now you can have just to carry with you in the stand. It's small, portable. And like I said, that thing right there will charge, will
jumpstart your buggy, your side-by-side 4-wheeler, boat, truck,
flashlight,
anything.
Right.
So.
Run a laptop off of it for 5 or 6 hours.
Right. So this thing will do the whole deal, everything. So, I can't express how much that thing came in handy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're by yourself, because something like that right there,
Lifesaver.
it can be a lifesaver.
Can be.
Second day, and again, I'm coming in, see these bucks running, and fortunately he came coming right next to me. The doe came by, he's right behind her. I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity. Got the camera ready
Everything's
to go.
locked and
Everything's ready to go. I'm set. Draw back, following him. He's about I want to say 25 yards on my rangefinder. I'm following him to the right, and my bow hits my camera arm. Tink.
Game over.
It's like somebody sounded a train horn. That's how it goes.
And then it just amazes me how.
I wish the camera would have been on him when that happened.
Yeah.
No,
Because
you don't.
that would have
Facial
been
expression
that
would
would have been the best footage of the whole hunt.
Yep.
Forget shooting the deer. Seeing the disgust on his face would have
It
been
had to be horrible.
priceless.
Had to be.
Yeah. So that was pretty disappointing, and everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
So
Third day.
It's down to the wire. I got to get something, and lo and behold, here he comes. 2 of them. And I probably heard 5 or 6 deer snort wheeze the whole time I was up there.
Right.
Incredible. And then as soon as he'd come, I'd do a quick grunt. That's all they wanted. You didn't want that long grunt. You wanted just a quick grunt
They're
just to get their
listening as it
attention.
is.
Because if you kept doing that, they would just wander off. But if you got their attention and then maybe do a little rattling, now you're going to draw them in. Finally, I ended up yelling. I didn't get this on camera because it happened so fast. These bucks were just running through there, and he was chasing a doe. And finally,
What did you say? Hey, you.
hey, you. Hey, buddy.
Stop for a second.
Please stop for a second. Please stop for a second. So he stops, and I slung one out there. And at first I didn't think I hit him.
Yeah. What'd he do when you hit him?
He dropped and turned and ran. And honestly, I was just.
Did you feel like you overshot him?
I felt like I undershot him.
Undershot.
Undershot him. So I was kind of disappointed. I didn't even think anything of it. So I had one more day to hunt, and I was thinking to myself, I don't want to go trampling through everything.
Right.
Right,
It's cold
just yet.
enough. It's fine.
I'm going to sit in here. So I sat in the stand for 3 hours before I got down. And just to the end of the day, just to see if anything else came through. And I kind of had an idea where he went. And I get down, and I start walking back to the cabin. And I probably have a 300-yard walk.
Right.
And it was, even as cold as it was, you'd sweat by the time you get back to the cabin. So I get down, and at about halfway, I look over to my left, and there she
There it
laid.
is.
Yeah, laid right there.
Did it go towards the house?
It went towards the house. Thank you.
That's nice.
That was nice. Because let me tell you something. Them hollers
Down in a holler is tough.
are tough, especially for a flatland Florida boy.
Absolutely.
Just walking up and down, I'm more or less dragging what do you weigh? Probably 240.
Yeah, he was a big buck.
Wow.
Big buck.
Ghost buck down.
Ghost buck down. Get him. Head over to.
The processor.
No, I got to drag him out.
Oh, yeah.
I got to drag him out. So I call Rucker. Rucker comes out from work, mad Rucker does not like to work when it comes to, dragging the deer out. He came out there
In
and
true Rucker fashion.
yeah, I ended up field dressing him. He didn't even do that for me.
Nice.
So he's going to clean his own fish when he comes down to Florida.
Did it give you the old one and done? Son?
Oh yeah, the one and done, son. So
Rucker style.
yeah, I've known Rucker for a long time. He's a good buddy of mine. So all right, so we ended up dragging him out. Beautiful deer. Blessed to get a buck this way, and finally getting something
Absolutely.
at the end of the season. We had a good time. So I appreciate you having me over in Georgia.
Thanks
Pete,
for coming,
you're gonna
man.
have to do it next year.
I'm gonna make it up next year while you stay here.
Go ahead and get your permission slip signed.
Yeah,
now.
I will do
right.
it.
Yeah, you need
I'll
to
do
get your kitchen pass now, so
It's
to get it
it's
signed,
ready
so we
to
can
go.
Notarized.
get it all ready to go. So
We're going to take you hostage next year.
absolutely.
Either way, I'm going.
All right, we're gonna do some diving.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have fun.
That's what I'm stoked up for.
So next week, stick with us. Trophy Taker Outdoors. We'll see you guys. God bless fishing and camo.